succeed, you'll get no thanks. If you fail, you'll get no help.
I do solemnly swear that I will defend the United States against all its enemies whomsoever. And I further swear that I will never reveal to any living person any information I may acquire in the service of American counter-espionage. So help me God.
That's quite an oath. And with it a man binds himself the loneliest service on earth. The service of counter-espionage. What follows is pure fiction. It has to be. But it is intended as a long overdue tribute to all the lonely men and women who have laid down their lives that you and I may enjoy the American way of life. The men and women who have protected America from her most deadly enemy, the foreign spy. The men and women who bear the title of Security Agent, USA.
This is Bennett.
Hello, Tom. Jack Walker.
Hi, Jack. How's everything out in Chicago?
Nothing to it, Tom. I'm ready to come back to Washington.
What about Mueller?
That's a clean bill of health. I haven't actually talked to him, but I've done a lot of snooping. He's a harmless, sort of charming old duck. Plus, which he's working on a phase that can't give him too much.
Mm-hmm. Manise?
Does that answer your question?
All right. Can we vouch for him to the general? You there, Jack?
Yeah. I was just lighting a cigarette. Sorry. I think we can clear them, Tom. I went through their apartment while they were at the lab, and I really went through it. Nothing there, but nothing.
Okay, that jives with the other information. You can come home, Jack. All's forgiven.
Wish the niece could... Sorry, friend. I'm using this as... Hey!
Hey, Jack. Jack, what's wrong? Hey, Jack, what is this, a gag? Jack!
No, Tom, it was no gag. It took you 2 hours and 8 minutes to find that out. The answer came from the Chicago Police Department.
Man answering your description, John Walker, found dead in phone booth, Union Station. Shot through chest and head. No information on killer.
As far as you're concerned, that's where it all started. You're Tom Bennett, Special Agent, American Counter-Espionage. You sent your pal, Jack Walker, to Chicago to investigate a Dr. Walter Mueller, German refugee, who's working in a top-secret laboratory. Jack's dead now, and you're responsible. You see, Tom, what you didn't know when you sent Walker to Chicago was that about 3 months ago, in the headquarters of German intelligence in Berlin, something happened. Something like this.
I have sent for you to give you your orders. You are to proceed to the United States. You will travel by submarine.
Very good, Herr Admiral.
Reports indicate the Americans are experimenting with atomic energy at a spot called Oak Ridge in the state of Tennessee. They also have a laboratory in Chicago where much of the research is probably conducted.
I understand.
You'll have to pass over Oak Ridge. It is at this time impenetrable. But in Chicago, you should be able to get the information we must have. We must know what progress the Americans are making, and if they are successful, how they are proceeding. This is a race between their scientists and ours, which may well decide the war. Understand, gentlemen?
Neiman. You knew Neiman's reputation, Tom, but you didn't know he was the man you were up against. Always where Neiman was, there was violent death, followed by German victory. Might not have helped you much to know about Neiman. You didn't know what he looked like. Nobody did except a few people at the Wilhelmstrasse. That's what had cost Jack Walker his life. Yes, Neiman got Jack, but you didn't know that.
Jack must have stumbled onto something, Chief, but he certainly didn't know it.
What did they find on the body?
If he hadn't been robbed. The only thing at all strange was a piece of a match package clenched in his hand. Whoever killed him tried to take the package from him.
Any idea where the matches came from?
The cover was pure white, no advertising on it.
I see. This is bad, Tom. It means they've got a spy close to the atomic energy project. We've got to get him. I think you'd better handle this one yourself. Any ideas?
Jack was checking that Dr. Mueller on his knees. Let's start there. How about getting the Atom people to put me in with Mueller as his assistant? Can it be arranged?
No, see. This is Coleman. Get me General Grove. Call me when you get him.
They'll spot me, of course, just like they spotted Jack. But then whoever it is will have to do something about me before he can go on. He'll try something. I'll be waiting.
You know what you're doing, Bennett. Play it any way you want. That's the hard way, but I guess there isn't any easy way.
No, there isn't any easy way. If you want to catch a spy, you've got to set a trap. And a trap needs bait. And so you use the only bait you can, Tom. Yourself. But you don't know it's Neiman you're up against, and Neiman is deadly. Coleman arranges things with the powers that be, and you find yourself one fine morning in a closely guarded laboratory, meeting Dr. Mueller and his niece, Kathy. When you look at Kathy, you understand why Jack Walker went. She's a brown-eyed blonde with a figure. She can't be over 23. Dr. Mueller, on the other hand, is a wizened, normal man with laughter wrinkles around his little eyes. Only right now, he isn't laughing.
But why should they send me a laboratory assistant? Why? An assistant I don't need. Go away, young man.
I'm sorry, Dr. Mueller. The director said I was to be your assistant. You're doing a lot of work for one man.
Enough work to tax a child I'm not doing. Kathy, make him go away.
Now, Uncle Walter, don't get yourself all worked up. Mr. Bennett's just doing as he's told. I think it'll be nice to have someone around to talk to.
Then to him you talk. Me, I go about my work. I have no time.
Don't mind him, Mr. Bennett. He's really an old dear. In a day or so, he'll be eating out of your hand.
He acted more like he was going to chew it off.
It's almost lunchtime. Why don't we go down to the cafeteria? It'll give Uncle Walter a chance to cool off. Thanks for the lunch, Tom. It was delicious.
That was nothing. Just wait till you see where I'm taking you for dinner tonight.
Dinner tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tom, I don't know.
You already have a date?
Well, not exactly, but
You've got one now. I know a spot on Randolph.
Kathy, where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere.
Hello, George. I've been right here. George, this is Tom Bennett, Uncle Walter's new assistant. Tom, this is George Hudson.
How do you do?
Hello. Kathy, can you come over to the apartment this evening? I was just talking to Alfred, and he's finally got hold of that Sibelius album. We'll play it tonight.
Well, I don't see how I can, George. I have a date.
A date? Who with?
Afraid I beat you to it, Hudson. Better luck next time.
Oh, you. But Kathy, I thought...
Maybe we could both come if it's really special.
Well, Alfred thought...
Alfred's always thinking. Would you like to hear some records, Tom? George has a wonderful collection.
Why, I suppose so. If you would.
Fine, if it's all right with you. I guess we'll be there about 9, George.
All right. See you then. Bye, Kathy.
Bye.
Nice to have met you, Mr. Hudson.
Oh, Tom, don't. George isn't so bad. He just can't get it out of his head that he owns me. Hey, you got a cigarette?
Sure, here you are. Darn it, I'm all out of matches. Do you have any?
Yes, I think I have some in my purse. Just a minute, I'll see. Here you are.
For one awful moment, everything stops. The packet of matches Kathy is extending has a plain white cover, just like the fragment that was pried from Jack Walker's dead hand. For a split second, you stared. Then recovered your poise and lit Kathy's cigarette in your own. Then you absent-mindedly slipped the matches in your pocket. After work that day, you went back to your hotel to clean up. But before you did anything else, you made certain that match packet was on its way to Coleman in Washington. Dinner was a little trying, Tom. Kathy was warm and friendly, and you couldn't help wishing she weren't mixed up in all this. At the same time, you had to be careful she didn't notice anything. Your years of training carried you through.
The 4-block walk to the apartment was pleasant. The two of you swung along hand in hand. Oh, it was hard to break the witchery of her smile.
Oh, hello, you two. Come on in.
Well, here we are, George.
Hiya, Hudson.
We're pretty close to on time.
Yeah, go on into the living room. Alfred's in there. Bourbon and ginger ale for you, Kathy. What do you have, Bennett?
Bourbon and plain water, please.
Okay. Go on in. I'll bring the drinks.
All right.
Hiya, Kathy. How you doing, kid? Oh, you must be Tom Bennett. I'm Carter, Alfred Carter. Sit down, sit down.
How are you, Carter?
Hello, Alfred.
George fixing drinks for you?
That's what he said.
Swell, Tom. George tells me you're a new man at that hush-hush deal Kathy's mixed up in.
Afraid so.
Hope your business is better than mine. I sell shoes on State Street. These stupid ration coupons business stinks.
Oh, at least you can sell what you got.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm ashamed to do it. The quality's so lousy. Say, got that Sibelius album for George today, Kathy, did he tell you?
Yes. I'm glad you found it. You've been looking so long.
It's the third. Janus and the London Symphony, Tom. Do you like Sibelius?
I don't know too much about him, Alfred, except, of course, I've heard his Finlandia.
Oh, he's great. Great. Say, Kathy, my folks are through today on their way up to Manitowoc for a month. They stopped in at the store between trains. Tom, you ought to see my mom and dad, both over 70, and you wouldn't guess it by 20 years. Wait till I get their pictures. I'll show you.
Oh, here we go again. Mama's boy never quits. After Mom and Dad come the brothers and sisters. It's very interesting.
Here you are, Kathy. Bennett?
Thanks.
Where's Alfred?
He went to get his mother's and father's pictures.
Oh, yes, he's very fond of them. I've never met them, but they must be remarkable.
They must be.
Here we are. Oh, good, George. Everybody's got drinks. Got to show you my family, Tom. They're really great.
So, for the next hour, you learned about the Carter family in Codicil. Alfred's mom and dad were interesting. Like so many people who've been married a long time, they looked alike. Dark hair, dark eyes, firm jaws, and the same lines about the mouth. Alfred looked like them both. Then came brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, and aunts. Then the snapshots, funny poses, swimming, camping, hunting, and so on. A never-ending stream of tasteless snaps that only an enthusiastic and completely untalented amateur camera bug can accumulate. But finally came the last one. And that when you liked Tom, it was a shot of Kathy, Dr. Mueller, George, and Alfred at a resort at Beaver Lake, Wisconsin, taken 2 weeks before. Kathy was wearing a brief bathing suit. She looked good, and you looked at the picture too long. There were more drinks. George may not have been the pleasantest person in the world, but he had a lavish touch with the bourbon. Then came the music. Kathy'd been right. George and Alfred had a magnificent collection. As the deeply moving strains of the fourth movement of Brahms' first filled the apartment, you studied the others covertly. Kathy's eyes were half closed and filmy as she leaned back in her chair. George's head was down, the eyes squeezed shut as though in pain, while Alfred sat erect and stared at the wall. His blue eyes popped and blazed. No one spoke.
Oh.
Magnificent. Wonderful. How about another drink, George? Huh? Oh, sure.
Not for me, thanks. I've got to be getting home. It's almost 12.
Oh, one more won't hurt, kid.
I've still got some. I'll smoke a cigarette while I finish this.
Allow me.
I've got everything right here, Alfred.
Oh, at least allow me to strike the match for you. There.
Thanks.
Hold that light, Alfred. Oh, sorry it went out. Here, take the matches. Nightcap, Tom?
Okay, Al. Make it short, though, will you?
You sounded sleepy, didn't you, Tom? But you were never more alert in your life. Alfred had lit Kathy's cigarette with her matches, another packet with a plain white cover. And George, after lighting his cigarette, had slipped them into his pocket. Unconscious habit? Or had you spotted a method of communicating? You finished your nightcap, Kathy finished her cigarette, and you took her home. At the door, you kissed her goodnight.
Oh, darling.
There was a pain just below the breastbone. It felt lousy as you went back to your hotel. When you got there, a message was waiting to call Washington, operator number 38.
Ready with Chicago. Go ahead.
Hello, Bennett.
Yeah, what's up?
Plenty. Can you talk?
I'm in a hotel room on a switchboard.
Have to take a chance. A report from abroad. they're getting stuff.
I think I know how. How serious is it?
If you know how, stop it. This is top priority.
That bad, huh?
That bad. And I found out who you're up against.
Who?
Neiman.
The pit of your stomach does some cartwheels. You, Tom Bennett, are matching wits with Neiman, Admiral Canaris, top operative.
You sure?
Buzz. Get him if you can, Tom, and plug that leak.
Those are orders, Tom. Get Neiman and plug the leak. The only thing Coleman didn't tell you was how, but that's your job. You sit in your room quietly for half an hour, remembering all you've heard and seen that day. And the more you think, the more you come to the conclusion that you've got to get hold of that match packet George put in his pocket. It means going back to the apartment. It's risky, Tom. But once your mind is made up, you move quickly. It's nearly 4 in the morning. Into an alley, around at the back of the building and up the stairs to the third floor back porch. All the lights are out. There's a street light in the alley below, but you don't worry in that dark suit. Out come the keys. You try. Now, you're inside. Gently you close the door. It's the kitchen. You know your way around. You memorized it earlier in the evening. Quietly you move through the kitchen, the dinette, into the living room. And then...
All right, you. Wake up. Come on, snap out of it.
Oh.
Never mind the act. Wake up. That's better.
What happened?
You got caught, that's what. Now, don't make any funny moves. You're covered.
I hope he gets the chair for this, officer.
The chair? What are you talking about?
Guess you knocked him silly, Mr. Carter. Or, girl, you're going to say you didn't kill him, but...
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't shoot anybody.
I know. You're as innocent as a newborn babe. And he just dropped dead from listening to the night ball game.
Then you looked around. George Hudson was lying in the middle of the floor in a pool of blood. He was very dead, and your gun was nearby. The cop had a police positive aimed right at you. And Alfred was holding a poker. By the way, Tom, that's what he hit you with. Your head was splitting, but even that couldn't keep you from admiring Neiman's boldness and resourcefulness. Oh, yes, you knew who Neiman was then. You began to appreciate how good he really was. You couldn't have done better yourself. Framed for murder. You could get out of it in time, probably, but time was the one thing you didn't have. If Neiman was pulling stunts like this, he must be near the end of his job. Probably in a matter of hours he'd be gone, and it looked like you'd be spending those precious hours communing with the Chicago Homicide Squad. Think fast, Tom.
Give me a hand up, will you?
Just stay put, pal. You got no reason to get up.
I'm going to be sick. Where's the bathroom?
Oh, here. Up you come. Come on, in here. And don't try anything funny.
The funny part of it is that it wouldn't be hard for you to be sick, Tom. Alfred has a heavy hand with the poker. As you reel across the living room, the policeman takes your arm so you won't fall. Deep inside, you gather all your strength. If this doesn't work, it's curtains. Then suddenly you straighten up and shout.
Hey!
He nicked you, Tom. Even a crease in the forearm doesn't feel so good when it comes from a .38. But you can't stop. Down the stairs, onto the sidewalk, and run. Run like a devil. Around corners, through alleys, over fences for miles and miles and miles, it seemed. And then when your heart was about to pop the buttons on your shirt, you stopped. Took stock. You'd done the one thing Neiman hadn't expected. You'd made a break for it. Instead of stopping to explain that you were a counter-espionage agent, etc., 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 you were free. But you had the whole Chicago police force after you. And you were wounded. Gingerly, you took off your coat and shirt, ripped the sleeve out of the shirt, and tore it into strips. Using that as a bandage, you staunched the bleeding. The rip in the coat wasn't too noticeable if you held your arm against your side. Now, before you do anything, Tom, think.
Alfred is Neiman. I was crazy not to spot it earlier, but I was thinking of George. Kathy has been picking up information at the lab and passing it on by means of those match packets. Probably in secret ink. I wonder if Dr. Mueller's in on this. Oh, no, it doesn't matter now. George was killed. Why? What would Neiman have done if I hadn't come back?
Then
then you understood. Neiman had made sure you'd come back. That match business was a plant. You were meant to see it. With George dead and you in jail, Neiman would be completely unwatched for a little while. It meant all the time he needed was a few hours. If that was all the time he needed, his work must be finished and only the getaway remained. A few hours to get to a hideout, change clothes, get new papers, a little disguised into Joe Doe, he'd disappear in the crowd. You had to find that hideout fast. Maybe there was a clue to it in the apartment. Maybe Neiman hadn't left yet. It was the best place to start, and it was the one place in Chicago the police would not expect to find you. Cautiously, you made your way back. The apartment was dark. A policeman walked up and down in front. You circled the block, came down the alley to the back. Hugging the shadows, you crept close to the steps. There was no guard in sight. Quick as a flash, you go for those steps and race soundlessly to the third floor. You try the kitchen door. Pray you leave it unlocked.
What's that? That's funny. I thought I heard something.
Don't move or I'll blast you. That's a gun in your back. Now get your hands up and keep them up there. Now I'll take that gun. There.
You won't get away with this, pal.
Maybe not, but I got a better chance now that I got a real gun.
What do you...
Don't move. I've got your gun now. I can put my pen away.
Why, you...
Shut up and get walking.
This is Coleman.
Bennett, Chief.
Been trying to reach you. Where are you?
Tell you in a minute. What did you want with me?
Some samples have been stolen from the lab. They discovered it during the night shift. They're vital. They must not get out of the country.
That does it.
What? What'd you say?
Listen carefully, Chief, in case anything happens. Neiman has been living here as Alfred Carter. 5'10", 165, brown hair, blue eyes. Catherine Mueller, the old man's niece, has been working inside the lab and passing stuff on via those match packages.
Go on.
I've been framed for murder, a beautiful job. Every cop in Chicago is looking for me. I've got one of them tied up in a closet right now.
Where are you calling from?
Neiman's apartment.
I'll get on the phone and square the murder charge.
There isn't time. Neiman's already moving. The Mueller girl probably has his samples. There's a lodge at a place called Beaver Lake in Wisconsin. I've got a snapshot of it. I think that's the hideout. I'm going there.
Do anything you have to, Tom, but get Neiman before he gets away.
I'm on my way, Chief.
Up to the roof, wearing one of George's suits and carrying an empty suitcase. It was tricky going from roof to roof, Tom, but you made it unobserved as dawn was breaking. Then a cab, in Union Station.
Carry your bag, sir?
Yeah, here. Would you bring it into the restroom? I want to change my shirt before I go.
Certainly, sir.
More luck. Not a soul about now, Tom.
All right, keep moving.
Hey, what? A gun. What?
Do what you're told and you won't get hurt. Get into that porter's closet fast. I need those clothes.
Now you're a red cap, Tom. You can walk right by the police who are watching for you. Carry that suitcase right on a train, any train. There's one leaving for Pittsburgh in 10 minutes. Stops at Englewood. Find an empty compartment, Tom. There's one. No one notices a red cap on a train. Close the door. Pull the shades. Now, out of the red cap's outfit and back into George's suit. Put the uniform in the suitcase and leave it on the rack. Step out. And walk carefully back to the club car and sit down. When the conductor comes by, you pay a cash fare to Fort Wayne. But when the train stops at Englewood, you just get off and walk away. No cops waiting. They haven't found the red cap yet. Now, to rent a car. You're cut for Beaver Lake fast. Thanks to Neiman's blunder in leaving that snapshot, the lodge isn't too hard to locate.
Place looks deserted. Hey, wait a minute. Fresh tire tracks. They've been here. If they're gone, I'm sunk. Try the house. What the? Dr. Mueller. Wait a minute, I'll get you loose. Here, get rid of that gag first. There you are.
Me, they tied up. That Nazi Kathy and that Neiman.
Where are they now?
Kathy went for food, and Neiman is found somewhere. Spies they are. And Kathy, my own flesh and blood. What are you, Bennett?
Special Agent, American Counter-Espionage. There you are, Doctor. Rub those wrists and ankles a little.
I'll do that.
Don't bother, Uncle. And don't move, Bennett. You're covered.
Kathy, you don't know what you're mixed up in. Where's Neiman?
Stand still. I know what I'm doing.
Put down that gun, Kathy.
Shut up, Uncle. You were clever, Bennett. Lucky I spotted you in town. I've been waiting for you.
Put down that gun, I said. You filthy Nazi.
Stay where you are, Uncle. Come one step closer and I'll shoot.
Go ahead and shoot. I'm an old man. America is good to me, and you are not going to betray her.
Dr. Mueller, stop.
Stop, you old fool. Stop, I tell you.
Give me that gun. Drop it, you little... Drop it. There. Now for you, Kathy.
Oh, did you kill her?
I don't know. I don't care.
Neiman, you must get him.
Do you know where he is now?
There is a little shack in the woods. I think he sends messages. That is where he was for.
How do you get to it?
There. There's a little path down to the left there, about 200 meters. Down that path it is shack.
Yes.
But be careful. It's dangerous.
Tom, be careful. As careful as your job will let you. You start down the path into the heavy woods. It's dark in there. You can't see much.
I'm waiting for you, Bennett. Come and get me.
I'm coming, Neiman. You can't get away. Why don't you give up and save your life?
And give you the pleasure of hanging me? In this, Bennett. I didn't expect you to get through the Chicago police line.
Why did you kill George Hudson? Just to frame me?
He was getting too nosy.
Did he know about the matches?
No, he was a fool. Stupid of you to fall for that match gag at the apartment.
It was a good trick. It brought me back all right.
I thought it would. By the way, how'd you find this place?
From the snapshot of all of you in that phony picture album of yours.
That was careless of me, Bennett. Bennett. Answer me. Bennett. Where are you? I'll help you. I saw you then. Bennett. You're around here somewhere. I see you. You can't get away from me, Bennett. I know these woods like a foot.
Do you, Neiman? I guess Canaris never taught you boys about playing possum, did he, Neiman? That's tough.
And that was the story of Tom Bennett. Neiman made a couple of blunders. His mom and Pop were the worst. They both had brown eyes. The phony Alfreds were blue. That almost never happens. Poor George Hudson was an innocent bystander. Kathy planted Neiman on him as a roommate, then slipped the matches with secret ink messages into his pocket for Neiman to recover at night and read. Jack Walker had picked up the wrong matches when he searched Kathy's room, and Neiman had got them back, killing Walker in the process. Complicated, you say? Maybe so. But it's all in a day's work for a security agent, USA. Security Agent, USA. The story of Tom Bennett was written and narrated by Bob McKee. Everett Clark was heard as Neiman, Arthur Peterson as Mueller, Sandra Gare as Kathy, Ed Prentice as George, and Myron Wallace as Tom Bennett. Others in the cast were Oscar Brown Jr. and Ken Griffin. This special broadcast, produced by Homer Heck, was brought to you by the National Broadcasting Company and its independent affiliated stations as a tribute to those unknown protectors of America's freedom and security our counterintelligence agents. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.